Hello everyone and welcome to Lewis News, and in today's video we're going to be talking more about Jake Johnson as Spider-Man and the potential of him actually playing a live action Spider-Man at some point in the future. Now this all comes off the back of our video yesterday, which reported that yes, Jake Johnson has confirmed himself that he hasn't actually recorded any lines for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which was big news in itself because it meant that yes, all the suspicions about the film being way behind in production, they are actually true, and everything and all the pieces coming together kind of suggest that that film is getting pushed back to the absolute maximum, and it looks like it won't come out for a very long time. However, we've got some very positive news today, but before we get into the quotes from Jake Johnson himself, I want to urge you guys to subscribe because this is your #1 YouTube channel in 2024 for everything Spider-Man. So if you want to stay in the loop with Spider-Man news, we cover it all on here. Games and movies and the shows, absolutely everything. With that being said, let's get straight into this. So in regards to playing a live action version of his character Peter B. Parker, this is what Jake Johnson had to say, and I quote: "If Phil Lord or Chris texted and said, 'We think this is really cool and we would love you to be a part of it,' then I'm in." Which is really positive to hear, and I think it obviously speaks a lot about Phil Lord and Chris Miller's reputation as producers, directors, creatives as a whole, that, you know, Jake Johnson, he trusts these guys to make a very good film, and he's going to be a part of it no matter what. But then he also goes on to say about Sony, which I think is very telling, and I quote: "If it's a Sony thing and they say that they've got a really fun idea and it's a new director who's at a great studio rate, I feel less excited about that." Which means basically, you know, if Phil Lord, Chris Miller stop making the Spider-Verse movies essentially, and then obviously Sony, we know Sony sees the popularity of the Spider-Verse movies, and then they want to bring back some of the similar characters. Maybe they want to bring back Jake Johnson, you know, to voice Peter B. Parker, or maybe even do a live action thing with him, like for example tie him into a Madam Web sequel or a multiverse crossover or something like that. He's basically not really interested. He probably will say no unless, you know, the story is right, because it's not Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and I respect that decision. It's kind of like how Andrew and Toby came back for No Way Home, right? It's Sony wanting to bring back those characters because they were popular, and it really worked. Luckily, No Way Home had a very good story for both Andrew and Toby, and they did those characters justice, especially Andrew Garfield's version of the character. And I think that's what Andrew Garfield was missing with the Amazing Spider-Man movies and all those rumors about him coming back for the Sonyverse. I think that's one of the reasons why he hasn't actually signed on for that, because he can see what Sony are doing, milking the cow once again for money, obviously, thinking that the fans want this, when realistically it probably won't turn out that great and will probably tarnish Andrew's character all the more. I think Jake Johnson has the exact same thought process that, you know, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, these directors, producers, these creatives that he trusts, come back and want to tell a story with his character. He's more than likely going to do it because, you know, he wants to tell that story with those creatives. They have told amazing stories with the Spider-Verse movies, but if it's Sony and it's a new director, it kind of feels like they're milking the cow once again. So I can completely understand where Jake Johnson is coming from. He doesn't want to just willingly do something with someone else just because Sony wants to use that character. He wants it to be Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and I totally respect that. But this is really positive because we know in the future there will probably be some Spider-Verse spin-off movies that Phil Lord and Chris Miller are involved in, especially the Spider-Woman spin-off movie, which has been rumored and even confirmed by Avi Arad at one point that they are trying to work on that. So if they are involved, maybe Jake Johnson makes a cameo, maybe he appears in that movie in some form or another. So it definitely is positive because it means we could be seeing more of him if Phil Lord and Chris Miller stick around with Sony to make more animated Spider-Verse features. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same story, could be spin-offs or whatever, because we know that Beyond the Spider-Verse will be the last one in the trilogy. But obviously, you know, it is positive news. Jake Johnson does love this character, and he loves Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and there's definitely a great relationship there. But with that being said, that is it for today's news. I want to hear what all of you think in the comment section down below. Tell me all of your thoughts. Make sure to hit a like on this video if you did enjoy, and also make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all types of Spider-Man news from the games and movies and the shows. We cover everything on this channel, sometimes the comics as well. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, then this is the place to be this year. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.